All right, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Tuesday. And as usual, we have a few different examples that we're going to be looking at. This first one comes...
I'm interested in studying education policy because policy is where change happens.
Education policy decides funding, it decides curriculum, how state and local decisions are made, and how they go on to shape the everyday experiences in classrooms.
When you have a problem, when you have something you need to solve, when you have a community you need to respond to, education policy can impact the whole system.
I totally agree with that. Does that necessarily mean that these trends hold in every part of the country, though?
When you're looking to change a society, a generation, a people for the better, you need to make sure that you're making change at the right level and you're making it with the right people. It's been amazing working with so many different classmates at Harvard. I'm sitting beside people who had been former principals, people who'd been software engineers, people who'd worked in policy, people who've started ed tech firms.
And all of those perspectives contribute to the dynamic of classroom conversations. People feel really safe in this environment. They want to engage, they want to disagree, and they want to have those challenging conversations that bring about really new ideas.
We were thinking like maybe it is something to do with the data collection on teacher proficiency.
I've never felt like I can't share out my perspective, or I've never been afraid to disagree with another classmate, because it's always done in a respectful way and it's always for the purpose of learning.
That is the most beautiful thing that I have experienced here at HGSE, that yes, you learn a lot, but then there's this thing that is happening inside the classroom, and it's the way we get to listen to each other's stories. In the classroom, we had a transformation of what knowledge was and what learning was, and it's like, it doesn't matter where you're at, the community will meet you there, will be there.
We're held to high expectations, but supported along the way to meeting those expectations. And what struck me immediately was it's a lot of teamwork. My professors scaffold our learning. They show us how we can work as a team. There's this common phrase that says, no man is an island, and it's actually true. Many meaningful interventions in the education space take place in team settings. And whereas I may study and know all the right terminology and words, if I can't communicate effectively with someone I need to work with, all of that means nothing. So I believe Harvard is being very intentional, not just preparing us to be head smart, but also preparing us to thrive in the settings that we're going to go into in the real world.
Perfectly legitimate. And if you do see associations changing direction when you control for variables, that's usually a sign that you have made a good decision in the variables you controlled for, because it gives us a new lens.
I could not recommend the Education Policy Analysis Master's Program more. I have had no experience in the policy world, and entering into this master's program, I have learned so much about policy and what it takes to actually make policy move through government to eventually go out to states and impact local communities. So it's giving me kind of those hard skills to make sure that I know how to use data and understanding how data can inform policy decisions. I think that it's really foundational to succeeding in the policy world.
Before coming here, I believed policy was about having a great idea, having the right team, the right money, and then we just go and implement. But the more I studied here, I realized that the process is so detailed and actually very delicate. You have to know how to talk with different stakeholders, how to be at high-level meetings and know exactly what to say, how to define certain issues, and how to build a plan for addressing those issues.
Education policy can look like advocacy, research. It can look like different things. I decided to get my master's degree at Harvard Graduate School of Education so I could bridge the gap between what a community needs, what a learner needs, and what I can provide as a policymaker.
Being in this program makes me feel like I can actually leverage education policy as a tool to make sure that educational access isn't just something that we talk about in classrooms, but it's an actual reality for students and families across the nation.
Do you have any questions about this model?